This is Family Time 210. We're talking about framing. Framing is a term that I use. It's really about perspective. This is part of our look at self management. Controlling your perspective, controlling your attitude about things is probably the biggest thing that we can do in terms of self management. It's funny to me how often we turn over our feelings, our emotions, our attitudes to other people or to events and circumstances, to things that we can't control. Our existence is our perspective. That's true with anyone. Something we have to recognize that other people are going to feel differently than we do about things. They're going to have different beliefs than we do. That's largely because they have a different perspective. We all have different perspectives, even if we've had similar experiences. We can never really know what someone else is going through. That's an important thing to try to do, to try to empathize with others, see things from their perspectives, but we can never really know that. We can never really put ourselves in someone else's place because we don't have all their experiences and their backgrounds and things like that. So that's an important thing to understand, that even when we're in the same experience with someone, we're viewing it through our own individual lens. It's also important to understand that we have control over our perspectives and our attitudes. Our perspectives are certainly influenced by things like our past experiences, but we can take control over our attitude in any given situation. Sometimes people think that's not true. And like I said, we give that power up far too often. We say, oh, this person made me mad, or this situation makes me angry or sad or whatever, or we just decide to deem an experience as negative while we're in it or before we're even in it. That's the craziest. We spend so much time worrying, and when we worry, we're deciding to have a negative attitude about something that hasn't even happened yet. I'm not saying that we shouldn't ever think about negative consequences. That's an important thing. That premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, thinking about the things that could go wrong is okay, but it's only powerful, it only serves us when we think about the possible negative consequences to weigh whether we want to make a decision or not, or to decide that we could get through something, even in the worst case scenario. But when we sit and we dwell on things that haven't happened yet, we're only increasing our suffering. And we don't even know if that negative outcome is going to come to fruition. Or we're in a situation that may be difficult in the moment, and we deem that it's bad. It's much more powerful to realize that there is no good or bad inherently. Those are labels we attach to things once we've made a value judgment on something. But I can tell you, in my life, again and again and again, things that were challenging, were difficult, that were even unwanted in the moment, often wound up being very positive things. I think frequently I've talked about before, and it's not really a big deal, but when I had gotten really sick, I had a bacterial infection and some other things, and I was really battling some health stuff for about 4 years. And I look back at that time, and it was difficult in the moment. There was a lot of obstacles to overcome, and there were times where it felt like I was making progress, and then there was a setback. But I look at that time as a huge benefit to me, as something that taught me a lot and gifted me a lot of different things, even from a very practical standpoint. Because I had this bacterial infection, I kind of had to learn to retrain my body to eat again and things like that. And although I was physically active and thought that I ate a fairly healthy diet before I had gotten sick, it really changed what I could eat for a long time, and still does to a degree, but it really changed the way that I view food and fueling my body and things like that. And probably added years to my life because of how clean my diet is now and has been for years since then, where it's like, well, that's a huge benefit. And I think of the relationships I've been able to have after that, and the things I've been able to do after that experience. And it's like, what a wonderful gift I was given. It maybe didn't seem like that in the moment, but we can start to reshape those things. We can start to reframe. I use the term reframing because it's like a director or a photographer. You get to decide where you place that frame and how you view something. That's so important. That's such a powerful skill. If you can practice it, to be able to decide the attitude you're going to have, even in the most challenging situations. We really, really do have that choice. And sometimes people think like, well, no, there's just going to be some situations that are bad, but we don't know what the outcome would be if we made a different choice in a situation. That's why I frequently say, don't worry about making the right choice, make your choice right. Or don't worry about making the right decision, make your decision right. And that just means we don't know. You try to play out scenarios in your head of, if I do this, then this will probably happen, this will probably happen. But we don't know that. And if you pick a different decision, okay, you could have a totally different existence. But you don't get to play those scenarios out. So you just have to pick a path, decide to have a good attitude, and follow it. That's something that takes a lot of practice. It's hard to do, but it can be done. And you can start with small ways, with small little inconveniences of just shifting your perspective a little bit. Instead of saying, oh, this is frustrating or this is whatever. I had one last night. At the time I'm recording this, my youngest daughter, Elise, she had some slivers in her finger, and they're actually like, I think fiberglass slivers. She was messing with a broken golf club shaft, and I think fiberglass, I don't know. The slivers got in her finger. Well, we wanted to get them out. My wife and I wanted to get them out, and she doesn't like slivers. Nobody likes having a sliver, and it hurts. And she was being brave, she was being strong, but it hurts. And then she was crying, and it was like I'm trying to comfort her, and Jess is trying to get it out. And then we switch. I'm trying to get it out. I've got a little needle to try to get the top layer of the skin, and the tweezers. And this is right before bedtime, and we've got to get up for weight room in the morning, and I got to get all 6 kids to the weight room with me and things like that. So it would have been easy in that moment to be like, oh my gosh, this is the stress of kids sometimes, and this is the chaos of having 6 kids and all these sorts of things. But really, the feeling that washed over me was this sense of how lucky am I to get to be this person for 6 kids to help with these things? And how lucky am I to have my wife, who's my partner in doing this crazy life of pulling out splinters and things like that that's real life. That's the stuff that we maybe don't think about when we're planning out our life, but that's what gives it, what fills it out and makes it real. So that's really a choice of perspective. To be, not that I enjoy trying to pull out a splinter and it's hurting my daughter's finger or whatever, but to be like, this is life. This is the experience. This is what it's supposed to be. So I challenge you to practice that in some small ways. We're going to talk about it in class, and I want you to attempt it this week, to take something that maybe seems negative or frustrating or challenging or even just insignificant in the moment, and try to reframe it as something that's positive or wonderful. Till next time, much love.